Bellarmine Scotty Davenport is retiring after more than 40 years of coaching in Louisville.
Just an institution in basketball in this state, and a state filled with them. What more can you say besides job well done to Scotty Davenport? WDRB's Eric Crawford and Rick Bozich today taking a look back at his accomplishments.
Big news in the world of basketball here in the city of Louisville.
You're right, Eric. Scott Davenport announces his retirement. He's a legend in Louisville basketball coaching. Bellarmine coach Scott Davenport has retired after a 40-year career that saw him win a state championship at Ballard with Allen Houston, an NCAA Division II championship with Braden Hobbs at Bellarmine, and an A-Sun tournament championship a few years ago as they were transitioning to Division I. Davenport was voted to the Kentucky Athletic Hall of Fame in 2016. He's the only coach to span the tenures of Denny Crum and Rick Pitino as an assistant to both men. Here's hoping for a happy retirement for Scotty D.
Yeah, and it wasn't the kind of year he wanted to go out on. They only won 5 games, but his last 2 home games, they'd had just a horrible season. He had 3 players leave on the brink of the transfer portal window closing. And they rebound, and they get a blowout win over Austin Peay, and then they upset an Eastern Kentucky team that had won 8 straight games coming in. So even then, even in a very rough season, his players were still playing hard at the end, and I'm glad they won those 2 games. We didn't know those were his last 2 home games at the time, but I appreciate Scotty. I know you do. He gave us great access. He's one of those guys that you could go in the locker room, you could be around the players and talk to them, grab them after a game, spend time with them. It wasn't all managed all the time. And there aren't many guys like that around, and he knew his basketball. They executed at a very high level. And when they were at their best, there were a lot of coaches watching what they were doing. A lot of what Louisville does is a variation on what Bellarmine has done over the years now. So a great career for Scott Davenport. Won high school and state championship, or high school and national championship, which nobody else in this state has done.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember, and Scotty likes to tell this story more than I do. When I was first starting out here in town at the Louisville Times, and I walked into a practice down on, I don't know, 2nd or 3rd, it might be 1st Street, where Aaron's high school was. And he was an assistant coach or an assistant JV coach, and he walked across the floor and introduced himself, and I've known him ever since, and his energy just jumped out at you. And I like to say this about Scott Davenport. I've encountered a lot of coaches through the years working here, but I haven't encountered a lot of people who were difference makers. And Scotty Davenport was a difference maker. And I say that not only because he won championships, but he made a difference at Bellarmine.
You can catch every episode of Overtime on WDRB+.
Download the app on your phone or TV today.
And congrats to Scotty Davenport. He's such a joy to be around every time he comes to the station. He just makes you smile. He's so funny.
We were talking about a story that we remember from right after Bellarmine had won its conference championship, and he was making an appearance on both the evening news and the morning news for us, and he left the championship trophy here at the station. He's like, "This is heavy. I don't want to log it around. Can I just leave this here?" And so
we said, "Sure."
We were just taking pictures in the newsroom with the trophy. Can we believe he just left this here?
Right.
And, I mean, if you knew him, he was so down to earth. If you know him, he's so down to earth that didn't surprise anybody.
Such a nice guy, and congrats to him.